event on the Southern African off-road calendar. Damage from the Civil War 2 years ago was still being repaired as the scene was set for the final round of the MSA South Africa National Off-Road Championship, the 33rd Pirelli Lesotho Sun Roof of Africa. So welcome to this part of... The service area was abuzz with activity as competitors and their crews completed final preparations for what promised to be one of the toughest events in years, while local public interest was running high. After 7 rounds, Neil Woolrich and Kenny Schulthammer had already wrapped up the overall production vehicle category, but Class E was still up for grabs with the Birkin brothers, Andrew and Chris, in their Toyota, level pegging on points with Mitsubishi pairing Noel and Robin Quinn. It was a winner-takes-all situation, with the Birkins narrowly ahead on wins, 3-2 so far this season.
The vehicle's definitely up to it. The guys have put a lot of work into the vehicle. The vehicle's been completely rebuilt before this event. The route is very rough. There's places that you have to keep your head together, pace yourself very well, but there's some places where you must push, and that's when you make up your time.
Nissan Motorsport had wrapped up the Class D championship in the last round, the Caledon 400, with Hein Probler and Charles Volmerans taking a runaway victory in their hardbody. While overall champions, Woolrich and Schulthammer, would be swapping mounts to debut a Class E Ford Racing Ford Ranger.
It's great to be able to come to the Roof of Africa with that championship sign up, because the Roof of Africa is such a hard event. Anything can happen here. You can have 4 seasons in one day, so it's nice to not come here with all the pressure of a championship. And we're also here on a new vehicle, which is very exciting. We had, as you know, worldwide there'd been a lot of changes in the motor industry, and Ford Motor Company lost the Mitsubishi agency. So we had commitments to our sponsors, with Pirelli being one of our main sponsors and actually sponsoring the Roof of Africa. We felt that we needed to be here, and Ford have very kindly helped us out with the Ford Ranger. We've built the car in a very short time. It's a very, very standard motor car. Basically just put all the safety features into it and decided to come and give it a good run at the Roof of Africa. We're really looking forward to it, and it's going to be an exciting event.
In the special vehicle category, the consistent Shamir Variawa and Bucks Carolyn were leading both the overall classification and Class A, while single-seater specialist Hill Nell had already won Class B and was in a strong position to challenge for overall honours. 3 times roof winner Richard Schilling would pair up with his partner from their 1992 victory, Ashley Thorne, in a race car.
It's actually an old car. It's a 12-year-old motor car. I bought it from Greg Harvey. It won the championship, I think, in '91. Had a Porsche motor, but as you'll notice, I'm in Class B. I'm using a Nissan 2-litre motor. I really want to have some fun. I think I've done what I need to do, but the roof is just such a special event that I'd like to see if we can do the B car.
Apart from the Variawa-Carolyn combination, former winners, the veteran pairing of Franz Czepek Sr. and Jr., were in with a strong chance.
Entering the 4th decade of off-road racing, we've been in and out of racing. We've raced the first race in 1970, won it for the first time in '76, did it again in '77, then we had a bit of a break, raced bikes for a while, got back into it again, won it again in '97, won the specials in '94 category, lost it last year by 1 minute. So we are in the running, so hopefully, we've had a bit of bad luck this year, but hopefully our bad luck is finished, and it seems to be finished, and hopefully we'll have a very good roof. The weather's fantastic. Everybody seems in a good mood. It sounds like it's going to be a good race.
Day 1, and the Class A special vehicles led the field off the line at the famous Busuthu hut for the traditional round the houses in the streets of Maseru. This gives the spectators the opportunity of seeing the competitors from close up at speed, while it also determines the starting order for the start of the time trial later in the afternoon. A network of existing and yet to be completed new roads were used for the round the houses, excluding the traditional polo field. Not a lot of rain had fallen over the Maseru area in the previous weeks, so a lot of dust was kicked up by the cars as they jockeyed for position in the 3-lap race. Duncan Foss of touring car fame was there to support his Nissan Motorsport teammates, probably having a good laugh at the spectacle of off-roaders trying to find racing lines and passing spots. While the thundering special vehicles provided a good show, most knew that with some 1,000 kilometers of the toughest terrain ahead, this wasn't the time for any heroics. The crowd and the local military certainly enjoyed it, as Bevan Berthold and Atang Mahakhaneni took the honours in their Speedstick Racing race car. Mark Corbett and Juan Moore in their Jim car was second quickest. Next up, the Class T Super Trucks in the production vehicle category, with former roof winners Afi Reinicker and Robin Houghton in the Castrol Toyota dealer team Land Cruiser, and Cliff Barker and Vic Camper in their privateer Land Rover leading the field. Reinicker and Houghton were in the relatively new Land Cruiser, which had made its debut on the Caledon 400, where they finished an encouraging third after a season fraught with niggling reliability problems in their old car. Shortly after the start, Hannes Frobler and Richard Leake in the Nissan Motorsport hardbody came past to take the lead. Frobler would set the quickest time in the round the houses, with Reinicker some 13 seconds slower in second. Barker and Camper were still going strong, as was the Jeep pairing of father and son, Arthur and Scott Abraham. Class D champions Hein Frobler and Charles Volmerant set a very respectable time in their one-tonner, while Frobler and Leake took the flag to finish 4th overall. It was clear who the crowd's favourites were. After the two top classes in the special and production vehicle categories, the rest of the field had their chance to show what they could do in the streets of Maseru. In their brand new Ford Racing Ford Ranger, 2000 production vehicle champions Neil Warwich and Kenny Schulthammer were still settling down, and they were not about to take any unnecessary risks. Giel Nel, on the other hand, was quite comfortable in his Trussie with its Golf engine, and he swept into the lead soon after the start. Andrew and Chris Birkin in their Toyota Hilux needed a good starting position and also went past the Ford. At certain points on the course, the dust was really becoming a problem, and drivers had to tiptoe through, making certain not to crash into the back of the vehicle in front. No problems for Giel Nel as he won the round the houses in this group. After the relatively easy street race, the real business of off-road racing would soon get underway. Join us after 8 competitors on a 60-kilometre loop, mainly on the Berea Plateau, east of the capital Maseru. Although still relatively easy compared with the terrain over which they would race the next 2 days, there was plenty of potential for disaster. Franz Czepek, Sr. and Jr. in their Epson V Motors Chenoweth were almost a minute faster than their nearest competitors. Second quickest in Class A of the special vehicle category were John Weir Smith and Jeff Minott in their dark dog-backed Porsche-driven Raceco. Greg and Fred Dowse in a similar vehicle were just 24 seconds slower in third. Quickest in the time trial in Class B, Schilling and Thorne in their Motortech Raceco with its 2-litre Nissan motor. Quite a way down, but second in class was Frikkie van der Linde in his Dayglow Orange Golf-driven Sandmaster. Warren Clarson and Kim Dixon in their appropriately named Rockbuster with its Alfa Romeo engine came in third in Class B. Multiple touring car champion Geniel de Villiers and Pete Swanepoel in their Class D Nissan hardbody were fastest in their class. With the demise of the touring car series, de Villiers is seriously looking at a change in his career to off-road racing. Nars LaRue and Cornel Jonker set the second fastest time in the time trials in their Colt Rodeo. Class champions Hein Frobler and Charles Volmerant had lost more than 20 minutes and would start way down the field, so third quickest were Pete Haasbroek and Christo Bosch in their Toyota Land Cruiser. In Class E, where the championship would be decided this weekend, Jean-Pierre Joubert and Errol Hodgson in their Cha Lin Freight Toyota TDI set the quickest time. Just behind them joined class leaders Andrew and Chris Birkin in their Toyota Hilux. This gives you a good idea of what an easy route looks like. The Birkin brothers knew that the smallest mistake could cost them the title, so no heroics here. Some 4 minutes slower and third in class in the time trial, the other title contenders, Noel and Robin Quinn in their Mitsubishi Pajero, also with the same strategy in mind. In the Super Trucks Class T of the production vehicle category, Reinicker and Houghton set the fastest time in their Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser. They were followed by former off-road champion Hannes Frobler and Richard Leake in the BP Nissan hardbody, who were keen on getting the new vehicle its first victory of the season. Although Frobler was pushing hard, he was also wary of making a disastrous mistake before the event proper had started, so they were just more than a minute slower than the Land Cruiser and would start 4th overall. And just watch that hard body accelerate. 3rd quickest, the mean-looking Jeep of father and son, Arthur and Scott Abraham, who would end up 8th overall after taking into account the round the houses times. So, on aggregate times, the Chefex were quickest and would start first on the road on day 2. With the top special and production vehicles well mixed up in the top 10, the lines were drawn for an intriguing battle over the next 2 days. Off-roaders believe in the early bird adage, and before the start of Racing Section 2, the atmosphere was friendly, if somewhat tense.